Comes to the Chiefs and the draft itself, there is one person in the Chiefs organization that really is playing a massive part. No one more important than General Manager Brett Veach when it comes to Thursday. Taylor?
Absolutely, Lindsay. This is the time of the year where Veach takes control. He is the architect of the draft. He and the entire scouting department have spent so much time getting ready to figure out what to do with their picks in this draft. And KSHP 41 anchor Dia Wall sat down with him to talk about strategy, what little he can tell us about strategy, the legend of drafting Patrick Mahomes, and why Veach claims he could trade out of the first round Thursday night in the first NFL draft hosted right here in Kansas City.
The minute the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, the parades happen, then what?
Yeah, well, that's where the fun ends and the work begins for sure. So it was quite the grind. I remember having the parade and staying up late watching all of the video highlights of the parade and just kind of thinking back on the whole experience, how great it was. And then you're up the next day at like 7 a.m. and you're in there with your scouting staff and you're preparing for the combines.
The legend of Patrick Mahomes draft day has evolved. I've heard 50 versions of this story. Yeah. I'm here with the man. Yeah. I want to hear it myself.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's just, I joke with people at times, every now and then you get a little lucky, I guess, and just a guy that we liked for a long time, and I had the opportunity to go down there and do some work at Texas Tech, and kind of fell in love with the kid and the prospect early, and I'm not shy in regards to letting coach know about how I feel about things, and kind of wore him out for a few years, and
a few years, Brett?
Yeah, a few years, and it's just one of those situations where it worked out, but I think all of us, from Clark to Andy to myself, I don't know if any of us in our mind ever thought it would be this big. I mean, this is, he's a global icon now. I mean, he's not just one of the faces of the NFL, but one of the faces of sports in general. Phenomenal human being, and for how talented he is on the field, you couldn't have a guy that's more caring about, off the field work.
You're known to wheel and deal and move around the board. Has Mr. Hunt threatened you that you cannot, Brett, trade out of the first round?
Well, I was joking in the pre-draft presser that, he did say that last year. Now, was he really joking? I do think that there was a little bit of seriousness in there, but I think it was more on the lines of he wants to be a participant day one. So we're here, right? So even if we trade out, we're still a participant in day one, right? So that could happen.
Brett Veach, are you telling me that you could trade out of the first round with the first NFL draft in Kansas City history?
I'm saying that if we did trade out, it would give the fans more excitement to come back day two and watch us do some more work.
I asked to go in the magical draft room. They said it's getting set up and we can't see it. I understand. Mm-hmm. But I want to know what the personalities are like in the room on draft day once the draft is open.
I think that draft day is actually a little bit, it'd be disappointing but I say that because, and look, this is a good problem to have because we've been so good, we pick so late. So when the draft starts, we're probably out there, I mean, some of us aren't even in the draft room for the first 10 picks because I think we kind of know who the picks are. Like, we're not going to be sitting there worried about where the quarterbacks go, right?
There's going to be a group of young men who you get to pick up the phone and call and change their lives. First, what is that experience like for you? And second, what would your message be to the newest members of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, first, the message would just be, congratulations and, welcome to the kingdom and enjoy the ride. But it is really cool. And nowadays, everything is videotaped and recorded. But I always go back and watch, like the Isaiah Pacheco last year in the 7th round. And you see him, they were at a bar, I think, and some of the family members were there. And just to see that emotion of a guy that was drafted 7th round and just know it was a life-changing moment. I mean, so to be a part of something that is a life-changing moment for not just that individual, but all the people that helped them along the way, and to have some small part in that on draft day is really cool and it's really special.
Veach tells Dia that if Netflix was to do a series on a personnel staff, he thinks the ratings on theirs would be pretty good because they have a blast together. Pretty incredible week for him.